I mean, I do have failed businesses before. I started at F&B, and like when COVID hit, it got really bad and I had to shut it down.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Season 4, Episode 7 of Art of Beauty with me, Amanda Imani. And today we have an extremely special guest with us, the one and only Chryseis Tan. Woo! I'm so excited to have you here. Now, you do a little bit of everything. You're a mom, first and foremost. You are an entrepreneur. You're also, I would say, a public figure and a creator on Instagram with over 550,000 followers, which is amazing. And most importantly, you are a big beauty enthusiast and you have a very special brand that maybe you'd like to share with us what it's called.
It's called LUMI Beauty.
LUMI Beauty.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Chryseis and I'm the founder of LUMI Beauty.
Amazing. So maybe just to start it off, like how did you get the inspiration to maybe start like a beauty brand?
Okay, so this was about 4 years ago and I remember it was COVID. And actually the idea came before COVID. And, I was so keen on doing this. I hired like 2 girls and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start my beauty brand because this is something I'm always passionate about and something I really love. And then I realized I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh no, I'm pregnant. I had really bad morning sickness. So it actually got delayed a little bit. And in the process, being pregnant and testing skincare products was even better because I was pregnant and I wanted the products to be, safe for pregnant ladies and all that. So the idea came about for it to be like vegan, cruelty-free and all that. So that was how I started the brand during COVID and when I was pregnant in 2020.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I launched it in October. And yeah, I'm like really happy that it was, we started literally really small and we kind of sold out in the first week. So that was really, yeah.
Yeah, I do remember it. I remember seeing like the social presence all over Instagram. And
yeah, just right before we launched.
Yes. And I remember seeing you kind of teasing about it. And one of the very first products I saw you tease about, I was like, wow, I have to try this now because I feel like you're such a innovator and you really do pave the way for a lot of things, fashion and beauty.
Thank you.
And I do know a lot of people really look up to you and they're always like, wow, I wish I could, emulate a little bit of Chryseis's beauty routine and maybe fashion sense. So I would say like, I want to ask you, so what made you came up with the name LUMI Beauty? Where did that inspiration come from?
So I wanted a short name and LUMI actually came from the word luminous. So, and it's also because my products are from Japan and Korea. So LUMI means Rumi in Japanese. So, it's kind of catchy and short. So that was how it came about. Just easy.
Yeah. And fun fact, Chryseis, you do speak Japanese as well, right?
I do, but do not test me.
Which I think is so interesting because, like I said, you're kind of like, you do everything. And it's so amazing to see a woman, be successful in so many of her different ventures.
Yeah, I'm trying. Thank you.
So the second question I have for you is, I guess in a world, especially in a local world of Malaysia, we see so many brands and it's a pretty saturated market.
It's a very saturated market, yeah.
So I want to ask you, what were maybe some of the initial challenges you had when you first started your brand?
Yeah, to be honest, when I first started my brand, I didn't think much. I'm like, okay, you know what? I want to do it and let's do it. That was literally how it came about. And then when I launched it or when it's almost launching time, I'm like, then we start freaking out like, oh, this, that. But what I really believe in is to produce quality products. Apart from marketing, we can do all that. We can do like the marketing, like knowing our target market, the niche market and all that. But what I do believe in is to produce good quality products. Mm-hmm. So I'm very involved in the process, the R&D process, the testing and all that. And I have to test the products myself. And I have to believe in a product before launching it. So that's what I always believe in. Of course, it's not one skin fits all, one product fits all. Yep. But I feel like, when I give it to my friends, my family, and myself to try, and if it's a go, and that's how it comes about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is very, very interesting. And I guess, since you do so many things, and you did mention that you are very hands-on from start to end with your brand, what's it like in a day-to-day for Chryseis Tan? Like, kind of managing and I guess kind of seeing it start to end, when you launch products.
Yeah, okay. First, when I launch, of course, now that I have a team, of course, it's a little bit easier. But when we started, it was only two of them and me. So we discuss a lot. And of course, like from the start to the end, there's a lot of processes.
Yeah.
Like firstly, finding a good lab partner, working with them, seeing if they're qualified. And then the products, the back and forth takes such a long time. So I think that's the most intense part of the business, I would say.
Got it.
Yeah.
And you did mention, the quality is the most important thing.
The most important to me. Yeah.
I want to ask you, how do you manage to find a balance between, creating products that are very high quality but at the same time really accessible for people to actually purchase?
Oh, yeah. So that's basically what I had in mind when I first started this brand, actually. Because obviously I love beauty products and I buy a lot of beauty products outside. And I'm like, oh my God, sometimes it's so expensive, You need to use so many products. And it obviously adds up. So I really wanted to create something that is of good quality and at a reasonable price. And I feel like a lot of people, of course, everyone, I wouldn't say I'm like the scientist creating it. Of course, I have partners and, they have like professional people like advising. So that's where the back and forth is. We have to tell them like, okay, it can't be too expensive, but what can be done? There's always substitutes and replacements. So that's how we come up with formulations that works and at a reasonable price.
Yeah. And one really cool thing is I always see a lot of your products are always sold out, which is so cool.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It's always sold out.
Sunscreen is sold out right now. To be fair, we honestly did not anticipate for it to sell out so quickly. So these are production problems. We could have ordered a lot more, but we also have to balance it out because cash flow in a business is very important. So, I mean, we can talk a bit about that later.
Yeah.
But, so in a business, there's just so many elements, not just the product. It's like the business, the cash flow, the customers, your staff. There's just so many things involved in building a good business and healthy business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wise words from Chryseis. And I feel like you are, the perfect person to talk about business.
Oh, thank you.
A little bit of an off-topic question. How do you think, a beauty brand like LUMI, is it very different as opposed to maybe an F&B?
Oh, yeah. So I'm actually an F&B as well. And I have a few restaurants. I have 8 restaurants, I think, in KL, in Malaysia, 1 in Singapore and 1 in Dubai. It's very different from the beauty business because F&B is a lot to deal with staff, like, HR, and because it's a service industry. Whereas LUMI, I would say it's a balance of both. Of course, we have to service our customers as well. It's also part service industry, but also very product based. So I think that's where it differs a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. That is very interesting. Have you found any specific strategies that you found to be maybe effective for maintaining, relevance in a very crowded market? We did mention it. It's very saturated. How do you?
It's a very saturated market. That's why we have to know our customers and our niche. So we have to know what is lacking in the market, and then we go into that. We have to be innovative. We have to keep up with trends. We need to know what others are doing. I mean, we don't copy them, but we need to know what they do so that we do, we innovate and improve from that. Yeah, so it's a very fast-paced industry.
Yes.
One day you see everyone using this product. The next day, everyone's using another product. So it's very hard to keep up with it as well. So that's why I say, cash flow is important. So it ties into that. Like I can do 1,000 products or like different types of products, but that will eat into our business as well. So we need to really plan and see what customers want, what our customers want.
Yeah. Feedback, I think, definitely is really important to kind of improve.
Yeah, feedback, we get feedbacks from customers all the time and we really take it seriously. If they say like, okay, why is the product like that? But of course, we cannot cater to every single person. But what we do is we gather feedbacks and then we try to improve on that. So on what we think we should, basically. Yeah.
And I
will decide on that.
Yeah.
Basically.
And in a marketing sense, so LUMI started off, I want to say, online, right? Am I right?
Yes, we're online.
Yes. And then you now have, boutiques.
Yeah, we have like a kiosk now and we're expanding that as well.
Yeah. And so how was that process? What made you decide to maybe start online first as opposed to, a brick and mortar like shop?
Okay, first we started online and I feel like online is definitely the way to go because the cost is definitely lower on our side. And then, but what I did was I did pop-ups. So, you came to one of our pop-ups last year. So we do like anniversary pop-ups and all that. And then I actually personally speak to customers and they're like, like some of them are a little older. So we have customers ranging from 18 to 60, 60-ish, 65. And some of them like come up and they tell me, I really wish like we can like actually test the products. They can like, touch and feel it. So that was when I thought, yeah, maybe it's time. It's time to have a kiosk and people can actually see, touch, and feel a product before committing to purchase it. So that was how like it came about. And of course, our pop-ups did quite well as well.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I thought it made sense. It made sense to have a kiosk now. Yeah.
Yeah, which is so fun. I've been to it many, many times.
Yes. And so we try to do like different things in our kiosk now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so fun to see also, I think, the colors and the, packaging of the products play such an important role.
So I loved yellow, like the color. And I thought like it's a color that stands out. So that was why I chose the color as like our theme for LUMI.
It's so appropriate because it's such a happy, I feel like every time I use
like
a
product,
happy
color.
Yeah, I feel really happy and I'm like, oh.
And our first product was the Vitamin Glow Super Serum that did really well and it's still one of our best sellers. And that was yellow in color and I loved it.
I feel like that's such an iconic product. I actually still use it myself along with the mask as well. So and also the sprays. I love that.
Thank you.
The rose spray is one of my favorites. So you guys, if you guys haven't tried it, you do definitely go check it out. But yeah, like for you, how do you personally manage your day-to-day with LUMI, for example? Like, do you constantly, do you constantly think of new things that maybe you want to produce, or how does it work? Like, do you maybe have like
my day-to-day now, because we've grown, after 4 years, I have, I think, more than 10 of them in my team right now. And I'm going to lie. It's a lie if I tell you I do everything from A to Z. Of course not. But I do give ideas. So what I do now is the day-to-day. Okay, but I'm still very involved in the product though, because I do want to try and test the products myself. But the other things I do delegate it to our other girls in the team. Yeah.
And I do think it's important, for people.
So it's a lot of teamwork.
Of course.
Yeah.
A lot of teamwork.
But I do give the ideas and tell them what I want and how I want the brand to be perceived by others. And also, of course, like the product.
Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing, I think, as a leader, right? Because you do have to delegate certain things to people, but at the same time.
It's a lot of delegation.
Yeah. So I guess I also want to ask you, like, how do you manage to stay different, right? Like constantly stay different, because you mentioned things are always changing. It's such a fast-paced industry. Everything is based on like trends and what you see on social media, for example.
Yes.
How do you think social media plays a very important role in what your consumers are looking for in your products?
I think for us, we started online. So I would say social media is very important. I do think that's how people look at the brand, like the first contact. Not everyone will pass by our stores, our kiosk, or our pop-ups, but they will see things online. It's just easier. It's just more accessible to everyone, the social media, the news and all that. So I think that's quite important. Yes.
And you did mention yet your products are pregnancy safe, vegan.
Yes. I make sure that it's very safe and all that, so that, everyone can actually try and use our products.
Right.
Yeah. And also the most important thing is our products needs to be effective. Yeah. So I don't want people to buy and spend that money and feel like, oh my God, this is lousy or this is useless to them. So it has to be effective. And honestly, like years ago, like I do have bad skin. So, I feel like
perfect skin now. I feel like God. You've always had perfect skin.
No, not when I was younger, honestly. But, Yeah, I think taking care of your skin is actually very important. It's more important than we think it is. Yeah.
And for LUMI, do you see it always being a skincare brand, or do you ever think of maybe branching out to cosmetics?
No, we will branch out, of course, but I think maybe more into like body first, you know, like we actually have like a hand cream now. So we do want to do other parts of the body.
Okay, that is so cool. I have tried actually your hand cream today.
Oh, I hope you love it.
Love the packaging too, I would say.
Maybe you need to get the new one with the charms.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Oh, cool. I'm so excited. Can you share some stories from your entrepreneurial journey and maybe some of the key lessons you learned, because you've always, I guess you've grown up, you know, being in business, and you started business in a very young age. What maybe do you have to say to some people watching that maybe are looking to start a business?
I think you need to know your market, actually. Don't jump into something. I mean, I do have failed businesses before. I started at F&B, and like when COVID hit, it got really bad and I had to shut it down. What I think is persistence and resilience is really important. You need to innovate. You need to adapt to market. You need to know your consumers. You need to know your customers and always listen to them. Because you know what I feel? Customers are always right. Because if you want to, you know, make them spend on your product or what you've created, you have to consider what they want, right?
Yeah.
So customers very important. Customers always right. And no matter what, you know, sometimes we do get ridiculous like complaints and things like that. But I'm like, you know, I always tell my staff, just be patient. We need to know what they want.
Right.
And maybe there's a point somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really, I think, a very important thing when you are starting a business, because you can't always please everybody, but it is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We cannot please everybody, but we try to do our best we can. You know, whether it's our products or the restaurants, our service. Yeah.
Yeah. In your opinion, what are some of the business strategies that maybe has worked for you most or been the most successful growing LUMI?
Business strategy. Of course, when we started, we do a lot of online strategies. You know, we do like ads. We do, I mean, the things that everyone does, marketing. But I do feel that when you say strategy, I just really want to give the best for our customers.
Yeah.
So no rocket science, just giving the best quality products to your customers. And once that comes in, you know, they promote you through word of mouth.
Yeah.
And, you know, people just come.
And that's really, really important, I think.
It's so important.
If you want, you know, returning customers.
Exactly.
Especially.
And people forget that sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of people, okay, you know, they just create products
and they
the
just
sake
market
of it. And they just market it.
Yeah.
They think marketing is everything, but you don't get return customers.
Yes, that's
and
totally
return
right.
customers are so important.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that's a really good point I think Chris has just brought up. Are there any current challenges that you find currently in the beauty industry in Malaysia?
Okay.
Yeah. For example, like, you know, in the US, people are so much more, more aware, I guess, more woke about, you know, having brands that perform in a certain way or being inclusive. And I know that LUMI is very inclusive because I've seen a lot of your ad campaigns and your photos and all that.
Yeah.
And I really have to applaud you on that because you do really try to include people with, you know, different skin colors, skin types. So do you think that...
I mean, we do get like a lot of feedback as well on that. They're like, you know, of course it works on you because you're fair skin and all that. But I'm like, no, that's not true, you know.
Yeah.
So we need to also use marketing to actually show them like, you know, our products are for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, we include everyone in our products. So it's not just for like the fair skin or like, oh yeah, because you're glowing because, you know, obviously it suits you because you're fair. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
You can have glowing skin too, even if you're dark skin or you're tan skin. You know, it's no different. We're the same.
Yeah.
And we have skin, which is the same.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Would you say that LUMI is also suitable for people with maybe acne skin or teenage breakout?
Of course. Yeah, it's very suitable. I mean, sometimes, you know, if it's not suitable for you, then just don't use the product anymore. But a lot of people, we do get a lot of reviews and feedbacks that, you know, the products are really good for like acne skin. You know, it clears up scars. So sometimes like it makes me really happy looking at our reviews online on our site.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's really interesting because I have seen you at events, and I truly, with my own eyes, I've seen Chryseis go and speak to people and really ask for, their opinions and how she can improve, her products, which I don't see a lot of brand owners doing necessarily. I think a lot of smaller brands tend to do that, especially if you have a very small team. But it's really amazing to see someone like you actually, have that sort of interaction with the public. And I think that's something that...
Because I'm honestly passionate about this beauty industry and I love what I'm doing. So like talking to people and getting their feedback makes me, improve as well. Or like, when they love our products, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
So it's very fulfilling. Yeah.
Is there any word of advice that you could possibly share with people who want to start a business in beauty if they don't necessarily...
I wouldn't say I'm like super successful yet, but if there's one advice I would give them is, know your market, care about your customers, and also don't give up. Yeah.
What would be one of the first things that they should do if they, want to, and they have no business background?
Okay.
Right. And they just don't know where to start. Like, should they maybe come up conceptualization of a product or a theme going? Or
okay, like for me, a lot of people want to start a business and they get stuck mainly because of how they run the business and their cash flow. And that is very important. Like products aside, beauty aside and all that, like the theme aside, I think building a business, you need to know your numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers is so important. You need to budget properly. You need to, make sure you don't run out of that cash flow and make sure it's healthy. So I think that's when people get stuck. They feel like, oh my gosh, I'm now in a financial, crisis because, I have no money, not enough money for like to buy new products
or to sustain
the business. And that's very important because sustaining the business is the most important part of growing a business. And if you cannot do that, then your business will fail no matter how good your idea is, no matter how beautiful your product looks. That's all irrelevant. So a lot of people, I speak to quite a few like business people as well. Sometimes like it's the cash flow that really, drains them. And sometimes when I run like my F&B business and LUMI, sometimes there'll be stuff you're like, oh, but you can just put the money in and spend. But that's not the point.
Yeah.
The business needs to be sustainable on its own.
Definitely.
Yeah. If you think there's a bottomless pit where people or investors can just inject money in, then your business is not going to work.
Definitely.
So that is very, very important.
Yeah. I think that's a really important takeaway, I think, for anyone who's watching or listening, because, it's not that simple. And I think a lot of people have this misconception that if you have many different businesses, you can kind of just
I think a lot of people have the misconception of, a lot of young people, they think like, okay, I can create a good product, and, I can market it and it's all good. It's building a business is way beyond that. It's not just one product, looking good, beautiful colors, good pictures, and that's a business. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. We have so much to learn from Chryseis. But I guess like for LUMI, where do you see LUMI, in the next maybe 3-5 years, short term, long term, do you think?
I do definitely want to expand into different countries. And actually, we just went into London, feedback was great. Like, people love the products. So we're going to seriously take, new markets. Take on new markets, seriously.
That is so cool. And you did mention that you're also maybe expanding into more body care.
Body care, maybe perfumery. I don't know.
I think that would be so cool. It would be like...
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So once again, thank you so much, Chryseis. It was so much fun talking to you. Any last words you would like to share for anybody who's watching, maybe where we could find you on social media, Instagram?
Yes. I would also first love to thank my customers who support LUMI throughout this 4 years. And also, yes, like add us on my LUMI Beauty and me on Chryseis Tan _X.
Yay! It was so fun having you. And as usual, it was an honor interviewing you for this episode of Art of Beauty. I have so many different takeaways just from our little conversation, and you have so much knowledge and information to share with everybody. And once again, thank you so much on behalf of Art of Beauty for coming onto this show. It was a pleasure. And once again, guys, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
In my next video. Bye.